to talk about Hindu way of life. And today we are going to talk about one very important concept of the Hindus, which has popularized Gandhi and Hinduism worldwide. And that popular concept is the concept of ahimsa. Himsa in Sanskrit means violence, and ahimsa means you put an A in front, becomes non-violence. Now this has become it's a catchword for both Hinduism and Jainism. So both these religions really think this is a very crucial term that they use when they are defining the central characteristic of their religion, non-violence. We're going to talk about non-violence and where does it spring from and why should we be why can't we be violent, kill each other, kick each other, steal the money? Why not? Why should we loot and plunder and all that rather than be so non-violent? What's the reason behind this? We're going to study that. It's an interesting thing to study. First of all, the comprehensive definition of the word ahimsa. Non-violence is a technical etymology. That means this is a literal meaning of the word, ahimsa, non-violence. Now, violence can take place in many different ways. You may think violence simply means just thumping somebody, you don't like somebody, you just whack him. Now that's just one way of showing violence, or if you like, expressing violence by physically hurting somebody. That's one way. There's another way of hurting somebody. Another way of hurting somebody is to say, sometimes you're very sensitive when somebody says a wrong word, something that you find rude or unacceptable. It may be also called violence. That's called verbal violence. You can be violent through deeds, means physically hurting somebody. You can be violent through words. Even using wrong words, haven't you noticed sometimes when somebody says something very rude to you in school or at work or at your home, you feel really, very agitated and you have difficulty in going to sleep. So words can hurt as well. So the second way of you can hurt somebody is through words. There's a third way, say Hindus, you can hurt somebody. There's a third way, what can we? Just through thumping them physically, violent, or surely through rude words. What other words can you possibly be non-violent? Yes?
You might send like an email threatening someone.
Yeah, okay, but you see again that's like words, except it's just written up words. So send an email to somebody, still saying you naughty, rude stuff, you say, you sissy or whatever. I'm not using very rude words. And you go, how dare you call me sissy, and so on. But there are other ways you can be violent.
Is it kind of like indirect? So say I hated this guy, I could ask him to go and bully him.
Haha, yeah, you can, but the thing is, finally the violence was going to be either physical or verbal. Yeah, because he's going to go and whack him or tell him rude thing because you prompted him to do so. But it's still it's same. The idea is there's a third way.
By your actions.
Well, we already said through deeds, means through action, or through words. I mean, through deeds you can also say by, I showed him a rude hand gesture. So you didn't actually physically hurt him, but through your physical action you already shown him that you are violent. There's a third way. The third way the Hindus say can be violent. This is something you may have never ever thought is possible. But the Hindus think that it's possible to hurt somebody through deeds, means physically, through words, verbally, whether it's through, you use language or use internet. And the third way, say Hindus, you can be violent to somebody is through, you will be surprised with this answer, through thought. Now you see, I'll give you an example. You say, how can I possibly be violent with thoughts? Suppose you don't like your maths teacher. Yeah, they're all going, yeah, you should love your maths teacher. I'm disappointed in you. I thought you were such a lovely mathematician. You should say, I love my maths teacher. Suppose you dislike I'm not targeting poor maths teacher, but somebody you don't like it all in your school, maybe some bully in the classroom, and you go home and say, I hate him, I wish he dies, like that. I mean, of course, I'm not encouraging you to think horrible thoughts like that. But actually the Hindus say, through thoughts you can hurt somebody. Now whether you believe it or not is a separate thing. But if you really say very rude things, very nasty things about somebody, sooner or later the poor guy will get it, So if you say, let die, haven't you seen some of these Harry Potter films? Die, he's saying. So he's thinking rude thoughts and violent thoughts, and it can turn into violence. This is the Hindu belief. So take it as you like. But one thing I can assure you is this: when you think rude things about anybody, or through thought you are trying to be violent to somebody, I'm sure we always know somebody we really dislike thoroughly. And at night when it's just going to sleep, you say, I hate this man, he's such a nuisance, such a bother. Now the thing is this, whether you are able to hurt him or not is secondary. One thing is guaranteed. Through the process of trying to think rude things about somebody through thought, you are certainly going to harm yourself. Have you noticed? Try. If, for example, you think very rude things about somebody you really hate, who deserves to be hated, he's such a nasty fellow, and you think rude things about him, and for 5 minutes you think rude things, then 10 minutes you are still thinking rude things about him. After 20 or 30 minutes, if you still are thinking very nasty things about that man, you will soon discover that you are feeling hurt yourself. You feel like puking. You feel ill. Try it. I'm not advising, but I'm telling you. If you really think very bad thoughts about anybody for any length of time, in no time you begin to feel ill. You begin to feel, it's like holding poison in your system, and the poison will leak and hurt you. It's like holding, bowl of poison. It's just going to, so horrible and poison, such a strong poison, it will burn through the vessel and hurt you. So rude thoughts or bad thoughts about anybody, forget about hurting that other person, are guaranteed to hurt you. See, violence you're committing to yourself without realizing it, through thought. This is interesting. Let me give you another example. Suppose you thought very good thoughts about somebody you really like. Of course, your mommy or somebody like that. But you really like that person. You think good thoughts about that person. Before you go to sleep, you think, yeah, so nice. She made this cake for me, and then she went out and did shopping for me, and she bought a present. Oh, my mom is so... The more you think good thoughts about somebody, after half an hour, you don't begin to puke and say, yeah, I hate my mom now. You still feel nice and nice and nice. It's like magic. When you harbor good thoughts about anybody, it doesn't turn poisonous. It makes you feel nicer and nicer. You don't begin to puke. Well, if you harbor bad thoughts about somebody, in no time you begin to feel ill yourself. There's something very interesting to observe. Do you know what it means? It means that because you are linked with the whole of this human kingdom, because of these ideas of Atman and Brahman, when you think bad thoughts about somebody, you are actually thinking bad thoughts about yourself indirectly. That's why it's burning you. Well, if you think good thoughts about somebody else, you are just linking yourself with the rest of humanity, and even if it's your mom or whoever, and that makes you light up, feel nicer. That's the reason, that's the proof why you are linked with everybody. When you think bad thoughts, it hurts you. So it's interesting to realize, this is the reason why I'm telling you is this. If somebody says define ahimsa, you can say becoming non-violent through deeds, means through action, through words, and through thought. Not to hurt, not to harm, not to kill, through deeds, words, and thought. This is the most comprehensive, broad definition of the word ahimsa. So I deliberately developed the idea, and how you can, through thought, hurt yourself. Forget about others, you'll hurt yourself. It's important to realize this. Okay, so this is the idea of ahimsa. Now, why should we be ahimsa? You must ask yourself, why should we bother to follow ahimsa? Now, you see, there can be interesting reasons why you think you should not hurt somebody.